Have you ever wondered, what if the people you love most are the very ones holding you back, not because they're bad people, not because they mean to hurt you, but because they no longer match who you're becoming? That question, it stings. But it's one we all face at some point, whether we want to or not. The Stoics didn't shy away from hard truths. They taught that peace, growth, and virtue come from aligning your life not just with reason, but with reality. And reality is this: some relationships are meant to be chapters, not lifetimes. Seneca, Epictetus, Marcus Aurelius. They all knew that choosing the right people for your inner circle is one of the most powerful decisions you'll ever make. So today, we're going to walk through 9 signs that it's time to lovingly, bravely, and wisely let go. Even if it's family, even if it's a friend you've known forever. Because sometimes the kindest thing you can do is to set both of you free. When relationships block your growth. Let me ask you something. Have you ever felt like you're standing still in life? Not because you lack drive or dreams, but because someone close to you just isn't moving with you. Maybe it's a friend, a family member, or even a partner. You care about them. You've shared laughs, memories, maybe even parts of your soul. But deep down, you feel stuck. You're trying to grow mentally, emotionally, spiritually. But instead of cheering you on, they're dragging their feet, or worse, dragging you down. Seneca said, "As long as you live, keep learning how to live," and that includes learning who to keep walking with. You see, true connection doesn't mean someone has to think exactly like you or share every goal, but they should support your evolution. They should challenge you to be better, not keep you tied to the old version of yourself. If every time you try to take a step forward, someone close to you questions it, mocks it, or makes you feel guilty for wanting more, that's not support. That's sabotage in disguise. Sometimes it's subtle. A sarcastic comment here, a passive-aggressive joke there. Other times, it's louder, a flat-out refusal to accept who you're becoming. But either way, the message is clear: stay small, stay the same. And you were not born to stay small. It's okay to outgrow people. It's not cruel. It's not ungrateful. It's life. Growth demands space. And sometimes the bravest thing you can do is make that space by letting go. Not with bitterness, but with gratitude for what was, and with courage for what could be. So I'll ask you again, are the people around you helping you grow or holding you back? Answer honestly, because your peace, your purpose, and your potential are waiting. Emotional storms, a Stoic guide to inner peace. You ever walk away from a conversation with someone you care about and just feel heavy, like your chest is tight, your thoughts are spinning, and your peace gone? Sometimes it's anger. Sometimes it's jealousy, guilt, resentment. And over time, you start to notice these emotional storms always seem to happen around the same people. Sound familiar? Marcus Aurelius once said, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." That's Stoicism in a nutshell. It's not about pretending you're unbothered. It's about choosing how you respond even when someone else is throwing chaos your way. The truth is, we will feel things. Jealousy, frustration, disappointment, they're part of being human. The Stoics never denied that. But if a relationship constantly stirs up these emotions, if you feel like you're in battle mode more than peace mode, it's time to pay attention. Maybe it's a friend who subtly competes with you instead of celebrating you. Maybe it's a partner who throws silent tantrums when you succeed, or a relative who always seems to stir the pot just to see you react. Marcus wouldn't tell you to suppress your emotions. He'd tell you to master them, to pause, to reflect, to choose your next step with clarity instead of chaos. Because if someone's presence keeps you in a cycle of emotional reactivity, that's not love. That's emotional turbulence. And you don't need to live in a storm to prove your loyalty. Peace is not weakness, it's wisdom, and it's your right. So here's a question to sit with. Do I feel more grounded or more unsteady when I'm around this person? If the answer is the latter, you already know what the Stoics would say. You can still care, you can still wish them well, but you don't have to carry their storm inside your soul. Recognizing manipulation and reclaiming your freedom. Let's talk about something that doesn't always show up as obvious but slowly chips away at who you are: control. Sometimes it's loud. Someone outright tells you who you should be, what you should do, who you're allowed to be close with. But more often, it's subtle, disguised as care, camouflaged as concern. Are you sure that's what you want to do? You've changed. I'm just looking out for you. And suddenly, your life feels like it's being edited by someone else. Your goals feel selfish. Your dreams become unrealistic. Your voice slowly goes quiet. Epictetus said, "No one is free who is not master of himself." That means your freedom. Your ability to choose to think, to live in alignment with your values is non-negotiable. If someone's influence makes you shrink, second-guess yourself, or feel like you need their permission to be you, that's not love. That's control. Even if they never raise their voice, even if they say they only want what's best for you, true connection honors your autonomy. It celebrates your individuality. It gives you space to grow, not rules to obey. So here's a question only you can answer. Are you steering your life? Or is someone else subtly behind the wheel? Because love should never come at the cost of your selfhood. And if someone is constantly pulling your strings, it might be time to cut the cords. With love, with strength, and with the unshakable knowledge that you deserve to be free. You are not here to be someone else's version of acceptable. You are here to live, to grow, to choose, and to be the master of your own soul. Toxic patterns that drain your soul. Let's be real. Have you ever felt like you're walking on eggshells around someone you care about? Like one wrong word, one honest feeling, and everything might explode. You find yourself tiptoeing, holding back, dimming your truth just to keep the peace. But deep down, you're anything but peaceful. That's not love. That's emotional survival. Relationships are meant to be a place of safety, a harbor from the storms, not the cause of them. And yet many of us stay in dynamics that drain us, confuse us, and leave us questioning our worth, all in the name of loyalty, history, or hope. The Stoics had a word for this kind of situation: unnatural. They believed in living in harmony with nature, including your own nature. And part of that nature is the need for peace, balance, and emotional clarity. If someone's presence consistently makes you feel small, anxious, or off-center, that's your inner wisdom whispering, "This isn't right." And here's what no one tells you. It's not weakness to recognize that a relationship is hurting you. It's strength, it's wisdom, it's self-respect. Marcus Aurelius didn't say, put up with misery to prove your loyalty. He said, if it's not right, don't do it. If it's not true, don't say it. Let's apply that to our relationships. If it's not healthy, don't force it. If it's not kind, don't excuse it. If it's not mutual, don't pretend it is. You are allowed to want peace. You are allowed to want relationships that feel like sunlight, not emotional warfare. So if you're feeling drained more often than uplifted, ask yourself, is this relationship a sanctuary or a storm? The Stoic path isn't about avoiding pain. It's about choosing what aligns with virtue, with truth, with your highest self. And sometimes that means walking away from patterns that hurt and toward a life that heals. Before we jump into Lesson 5, take a moment to do me a small favor. Hit like, subscribe, and share this message. Your simple action can help more people who are struggling with this issue find the content they need. Thank you for being a part of this. Why respect is the core of every real connection. Let's not sugarcoat it. Without respect, there is no real relationship. Not a friendship, not a partnership, not even family. Respect isn't a bonus. It's the bare minimum. It's the soil every healthy connection grows from. And without it, you're just building on sand. Now ask yourself, how often do you feel seen, heard, valued by this person? Or have you gotten used to being talked over, mocked, guilt-tripped when you express a boundary? It might seem small at first, an eye roll, a dismissive comment, a "you're too sensitive" jab. But over time it adds up. And what it tells you is your voice doesn't matter here. That's not just hurtful, that's dehumanizing. Marcus Aurelius believed deeply in the inherent dignity of every human being. He lived by the idea that we should treat others with fairness and kindness, but just as importantly, that we must expect the same in return. Because mutual respect is not about ego, it's about truth. It's about honoring each other's humanity. So if someone constantly crosses your boundaries, if they speak down to you, ignore your needs, or treat your growth like an inconvenience, you've got to ask yourself, what am I holding on to? Is it love or is it fear? Habit, guilt. The Stoics would tell you this. You are not here to beg for basic decency. You are not here to prove your worth. You are here to live a life of virtue rooted in dignity, honesty, and self-respect. And if a relationship doesn't reflect that, it may be time to let it go. Because respect isn't just what we give to others. It's what we insist on for ourselves. So choose relationships that honor who you are, not just who you used to be. You deserve that. Always. Letting go of fantasy. Seeing people as they are. Let me ask you something straight from the heart. Are you in love with who they are, or with who you wish they could be? That's a tough question. And if it stings a little, it's probably worth sitting with. Because here's what the Stoics knew, and what most of us struggle with. We don't suffer because of what people are. We suffer because of what we believe they should be. You hold on to potential. You cling to those few good memories, hoping they'll come back. You rewrite their flaws as just a phase, or they didn't mean it. But deep down, a part of you knows it's not getting better. It's not real anymore. Maybe it never was. Epictetus would tell you this: it is impossible for a man to begin to learn what he thinks he already knows. If you're holding on to a version of someone that exists only in your imagination, you're not relating to them. You're relating to a story you've created. And stories, they can be beautiful, but they can also keep you trapped. You deserve to be with someone who shows up not in theory, not in the future, but now, as they are, in full honesty. The Stoics called this living in accordance with nature, which means embracing things as they truly are, not as we wish they would be. This isn't about becoming cold or heartless. It's about becoming clear. Because the truth, even when it hurts, will always set you free. So ask yourself, am I holding on to a person or a possibility? Am I loving someone or loving the fantasy of who I thought they'd be? You're not wrong for hoping. Hope is human, but clarity is divine. And in that clarity, you just might find the courage to let go, not out of resentment, but out of self-respect. Because you deserve a relationship rooted in reality, not illusion. In truth, not potential. And in that truth is your power. Holding your values and demanding balance. Let's strip it down to the core. Your values, your beliefs, your boundaries, your inner compass are not negotiable. They are the foundation of who you are. And any relationship that asks you to go against them, that's not compromise. That's self-abandonment. It starts small. Write a comment that makes you bite your tongue. A decision you regret making just to avoid conflict. You convince yourself it's not a big deal. But over time, each small sacrifice chips away at your sense of self. And one day you wake up wondering, who have I become? The Stoics, especially Epictetus, would never advise you to bend your values just to maintain a connection. In fact, he made it clear, if it compromises your integrity, it's not worth it. Now, let's talk about the other half of the equation, reciprocity. Are you always the one reaching out, listening, giving, supporting? And what do you get in return? Silence, excuses, emotional crumbs. Here's the truth. One-sided relationships aren't noble. They're draining. They turn your love into labor and your kindness into exhaustion. Seneca believed in helping others, yes, but not at the cost of your own well-being. Because giving without receiving doesn't make you virtuous. It makes you depleted. And from that place, you can't truly serve anyone, not even yourself. A healthy relationship isn't perfect, but it is balanced. It's mutual. It's respectful. It's built on shared values and shared effort. So if you're stuck in a dynamic where you're always pouring from your cup and no one's filling it back up, it's time to ask, is this really love? Or is this a slow erosion of who I am? You deserve a connection where you don't have to explain your values or shrink them to make someone else comfortable. And you deserve relationships that are partnerships, not projects. Hold your values close. Protect your energy. And remember, love should never cost you your dignity or your balance. The right people won't ask you to sacrifice your soul. They'll walk beside you, value-aligned, hand in hand. That's reciprocity. That's respect. And that is real connection. No excuses, abuse, and the breakdown of communication. Some signs aren't subtle. They don't whisper, they scream. And abuse in any form, emotional, physical, verbal, psychological, is one of them. No matter how much history you share, no matter how deep the love once felt. If someone is violating your dignity, your safety, or your soul, that's not love, that's harm. The Stoics, especially Epictetus, were clear about this. He believed that nothing is more important than your inner integrity, your ability to live in a way that honors your worth, your values, your peace. And abuse, it crushes all of that, slowly, quietly, then all at once. So let's say it plain, it's not just okay to walk away from abuse. It's necessary for your safety, for your healing, for your life. Now let's talk about communication, the lifeblood of any relationship. If every conversation turns into an argument, if every attempt to explain how you feel ends in deflection, blame, or silence, if they say, "I hear you," but nothing changes, that's not communication. That's dysfunction. Marcus Aurelius believed in using reason and dialogue as tools for peace. Stoicism is not about pretending everything's fine. It's about seeing things clearly and acting accordingly. So if communication consistently breaks down, if you're the only one trying and it feels like you're talking to a wall, it's a signal, a loud, painful one. And ignoring it doesn't make you noble, it keeps you stuck. You deserve to be in relationships where your voice matters, where your feelings are met with curiosity, not criticism, where repair is a goal, not a game. So if someone's hurting you or refusing to hear you, it's not your job to try harder. It's your responsibility to protect your peace. The Stoic response to cruelty or chaos is not passive endurance, it's courageous action. Seek help, set boundaries, walk away if you must, not from weakness, but from strength. Because your well-being matters, your voice matters, and your dignity, that's sacred. Never settle for a connection that requires you to sacrifice any of those. Not ever. Protecting your peace. Choosing tranquil relationships. Let me ask you something honest, and I want you to answer with your heart. Does this person bring you peace? Not just sometimes, not just when things are good, but consistently. Do they help calm your storms, or do they add to the thunder? Because here's the thing, the Stoics understood deeply. Tranquility isn't just some lofty spiritual goal. It's essential. It's the foundation of a life well lived. Marcus Aurelius wrote about keeping the mind fortress strong and undisturbed by external noise. He knew that the people we allow into our lives either protect our peace or pollute it. If you find yourself constantly on edge around someone, if your joy dims in their presence or your clarity dissolves into confusion, that's not chemistry. That's chaos, and you weren't built for chaos. You were meant to move through life like a steady river, resilient, peaceful, strong. That doesn't mean you avoid hard conversations or pretend life is easy. It means you choose the kind of people who respect your calm and help restore it when life gets hard. So if a relationship is always pulling you out of alignment, always stealing your breath, disturbing your sleep, making your soul feel crowded, that's not a bond. That's a burden. The Stoics wouldn't tell you to cut people off at the first sign of conflict. They'd tell you to observe, to reflect, to ask, is this helping me live in accordance with nature, with virtue, with peace? And if the answer is no, then it's not only okay to create distance, it's necessary. You are not here to carry someone else's storms on your back. You are here to walk lightly, to grow deeply, to love bravely, and to protect the calm within you like the sacred space it is. So ask yourself again, does this person bring me peace? Because if they don't, that might be the clearest answer you need. Ending a relationship isn't just about walking away. It's about walking towards something truer, something lighter, something that honors who you're becoming. The Stoics never promised us that doing the right thing would be easy. They only promised it would be worth it. Letting go doesn't mean you failed. It means you've grown. It means you're choosing inner peace over outer approval, integrity over illusion, tranquility over turmoil. So if something in your heart whispered this hit home, listen to it. That's your inner wisdom speaking. That's your strength waking up. You deserve relationships that feel like sunlight on your skin, that bring out your clarity, your courage, your calm. So, take the lesson. Honor the love that once was. And if needed, say goodbye gently but firmly. Because the right people, they won't require you to betray yourself to belong. Stay strong, stay true, and above all, stay committed to a life of virtue and peace. You're not walking this path alone. I'm walking it with you. This is the Stoic path, and we walk it one wise, brave step at a time. If this message stirred something in you, if it brought clarity, strength, or even just a moment of calm, don't keep it to yourself. Someone you know might need to hear this too. So, if you found value here, consider subscribing to the channel. Hit that like button. It tells the algorithm what kind of wisdom the world needs more of. And share this video with someone who may be quietly struggling. Because the Stoic path, it's not meant to be walked alone.